Can moons have their own moons? Well, we've sent things into orbit around our own moon on the many missions that we actually sent to the moon, so the laws of gravity don't actually forbid this in any way. Things can orbit our moon, so in theory, a small moon could also orbit the moon. So how come when we look out into the solar system, all we see are planets and moons? We don't see any sub-moons orbiting around these moons. Well, when we introduce another body into the gravitational relationship between a planet and a moon, things tend to get a little bit more chaotic. For example, if you were to put an object in orbit around our moon, then the Earth would also be pulling on that object, slowing it down, decaying its orbit, and eventually it would collide with the moon. But theoretically, this would take a long period of time to happen, so it is possible for sub-moons to exist for a short period of time, astronomically speaking. And it's possible that some moons actually did have their own moons in the early solar system. Some direct evidence of this comes from Saturn's moon Iapetus, which has this mountainous ridge all the way around its equator. So it's been hypothesized that at one point Iapetus actually had its own moon, and over time Saturn decayed the orbit of that moon. Over time, the moon of Iapetus would have decayed into the Roche limit of Iapetus, meaning that it would have been torn apart by the tidal forces around Iapetus. So Iapetus would have actually had rings for a little while, and those rings would themselves have decayed and fallen onto its equator, forming this mountainous ridge. And since we've never actually observed any moons of moons in nature so far, the International Astronomical Union hasn't given an official name to them yet. In the scientific literature, some names that have come up is sub-moons as well as moons, although the internet has made some suggestions of its own, my favorite of which is moons with 4 O's. So if you were to name the moon of a moon, what would you call it?